Hello, everybody. So today I want to jump right into this with the title and everything. So a couple of weeks ago, I researched into the token Supra. I had heard of it, but I didn't really know too much about it. I heard a lot of hype about it. I also heard a little bit of FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. We hear that about everything, right? So I did a decent deep dive into it. You can search for my take on it. I think I was relatively impartial. There were things about it I did really like, but two, also I don't own it, right? So there's a couple of reasons as to why. But I have been very active in the community with it. I'm talking about it on Twitter, going back and forth with people. And in crypto, if you've been here for really just like 3 months, maybe closer to 6, I'm sure you've heard crypto be called scam. Like, I'm sure all of crypto, but I mean specific crypto. I mean, even just up to less than a year ago, I heard people calling hbar, quant, and XRP scams, right? And now at least two of those three, hbar and XRP, are very sought after, thought of as great coins. Everyone's talking about maybe running the US digital dollar. But 8 months ago, they were scams, right? So most of the time, this comes from FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, not sure. Or a lot of times we're talking utility coins, not memes there, different animal. But with memes, a lot of times people call a crypto a scam or a rug pull just because they lost money on it. And I don't want to just make the assumption that's what this is, because I've seen a lot of people talk about Supra as a scam. And maybe it's because I'm starting deep diving into the community a little bit with it, but I see that more with Supra than I have with a lot of other coins. And when I talked about it a little bit online, yeah, I mean, I can get a lot of people to respond to it either way, in the positive or the negative. So I thought, all right, what the hell's up with this? Is it actually a scam? What's going on? And that's what I'm discuss today. So I'll give you the short of it. I don't think it's a scam. I'm not saying it's not. There's no way to prove until hindsight, but I personally don't think it is. However, I understand where some people are coming from. Again, unless you're one of the people that lost a lot of money from it. If that's the point, you sold at the wrong time. Plain and simple. That's the same thing with a lot of other crypto. You sell at the wrong time. That's really the only way to lose money in the space. And just to play real quick devil's advocate, but God knows what, even if something is a scam, and again, I want to go into a little bit the reasons why people are saying that this one might be and why I think it's not. But let's say it was. What the hell difference does that make? Right? Like, I mean, if you're looking to make money, you don't have to invest into the world's best project. You have to invest in a project that makes money and get in and out at the right time. Projects don't even have to work or make funding. I mean, there's a whole fucking narrative of crypto called memes that are straight up scams and rug pulls, and people actually enter that knowing it. Maybe that's the big difference mentality here. But even if this was a scam, that doesn't mean it's not a good money-making opportunity. I mean, geez, one of the most famous toys of my parents' generation was called a pet rock. You can actually look up and Google the quarries they picked these freaking rocks up from, gave them ID cards, gave it, God, I think they even gave them genders or names. I was going to say I don't remember. I wasn't around for it. I mean, I did a little speech about it in high school, but I mean, it was a freaking pet rock. And that was a multi-billion-dollar product, right? So things don't actually have to be good and make money in this space. However, back to Supra, is it a scam? Why are people calling it? And maybe a little bit, if you didn't watch my previous video, why am I not in it, but I say I like it? The short answer, because we'll get to a lot of it in here, I think, short answer is just timing. I don't really want any more diversification or new positions. I might get into it later. That's really a big one. I'd rather just DCA and other things right now. And it's incredibly new, which I think is going to be a little bit of a cornerstone for a lot of more logically minded people calling this a scam. Again, if you lost money in a crypto because you bought or sold at the wrong time, that has nothing to do with the company. You're just a bitter asshole. And I've seen a lot of those people on social media, but I'm not attributing all this to this. So let's get into this. The first thing that had me on the side of not believing people, other than one, I almost never believe someone just for telling me something. Always fact check it. Anything I tell you here today, guys, fact check it. You don't know if I'm full of shit, right? If you're going to put your money into something, make sure you understand what's going on. But if a company has multiple large VCs, venture capitalist firms, specifically ones like Coinbase Ventures, Coinbase, it's going to be really hard for it to be an actual scam, right? Because they would have to go through this vetting process to where Coinbase stopped and said, we should put millions of dollars in this company. So that alone was the big red flag against an idea of scam. Again, there could always be something else, a little fuckery going on in there. But that aside, what usually causes people to think something in crypto is a scam that might be legitimate, or little signs of it? Because I'll throw one out there that's actively being called a scam, and I'm kind of on the side of that one, is if you're familiar with Pi Network. If not, go ahead and Google it. Short, it's been a small project over the last several years. I was involved a little bit in the early investing in it. I don't want to say investing, I didn't actually put any money in it, but I earned a lot of this Pi token. And it took so much longer than it was supposed to, like 2 years longer for this thing to launch. They keep changing the dates and kind of what they're doing with it. People are having a really hard time getting their tokens, and they're changing the narrative as to how you get these tokens as people are trying to get them. It costs you Pi tokens to reach out to support. Yeah, I'm kind of bashing Pi a little bit for a second, guys. I'll be honest, it's been a little bit of a PIA. But that one appears much more likely to be a scam, and we're not even sure yet. But I just listed a couple things right there of what you look for, at least what I would look for if I think something's a scam. Is one, is it overhyped with promises and marketing tactics? I mean, Pi was all over the place. They did have a little advertising. This was, I think, right in the bear market last year. But this was several years ago. And they talked a lot about how Pi is going to change this. They did Pi Day on, actually, I didn't even see it this year, but I saw it every year before on March 14th. They kept talking about how great things are going to be and how quickly we're going to do this. And they just kept overhyping everything, and then it kind of shut off. Haven't heard too much about it other than saying, we'll talk to you later. Next is delays and lack of transparency. So this one happens in a lot of crypto, whether it's a scam or not, but so it matters, why is there a delay? If you know. Usually, if they're upfront, let's say like, hey, we thought this project was going to be released on May 1st. We got to push it back to July 1st. We'll let you guys know more. That's not a bad answer, but it didn't tell me why is it delayed. Like, hey, sorry guys, we have to delay this another 2 months due to there was an issue with the coding, or this came with an apparatus that we are trying to get or having a pending patent for, or is there a rhyme or reason they're openly giving? Because typically, if you're trying to save face and there's a problem, they tell you what they're doing to fix it. So if there's delays, or they're just not being honest, or very minimal information about what's going on, those are yellow flags. Again, these things can all add up. I want to come back to tokenomics and investing concerns, because I want to show this with the charts. But always look at tokenomics and allocation schedules. It lets you know a lot more. So is there a plan? And then, are they being very transparent? If the plan changes, why does it change? Are there delays to what's going on? When do these tokens get released to who? How much is going to the owners, the CEOs? That was something that jumped out a little bit to me on Supra, not as being a scammy, but being, is this something I want to invest to anytime now? Was roughly 30% of Supra's initial allocation of crypto goes towards early investors in the team. And I've got no problems with them getting their tokens. The 30% between the two is a little high for me, but they do have an allocation of, after about 6 months, some of the tokens start trickling towards the early investors. After I think it was 12 months, some of it trickles into the founders, and it's on a schedule of how often it locks. I like that part, that it's locked over 24 months and 36 months respectively for the early investors and the owners. That helped me out a lot personally. Other was past reputation of the team, and I've heard mixed responses on this one with Supra, about a lot of people just not trusting one of the owners because they had a failed project before. That part didn't bother me. I did not find anything that was very concerning, that the owner did something really dumb, really bad, or illegal, or anything that was just a dumb financial move. Not that I could find, at least. But it just seemed like a normal business thing, right? If you've ever started a business or thought about it or saw someone else do it, shit never works right the first time, at least not the way you expect. So there's a little bit there, but if we looked back at every CEO of crypto companies, if they have been working in business, I guarantee you're going to find failed businesses from people, but it's how did it fail? That's a big deal. Another one is social media. What does people think? Because at a certain point, though this doesn't matter, it can matter a lot. Meaning, if you say a lie loud enough, long enough, in front of enough people, that lie becomes at least partial fact, right? So if you have people constantly saying this coin's a scam, did you hear this? The owner did this. Oh my God, here. People don't fact check. You're noticing a little bit of a recurring theme here, guys. People don't look into what people say. They hear it enough times by enough people, or just several times by one person. People start subconsciously taking it as fact. This is why one of the reasons why people will spread rumors and FUD. Right? I mean, even if you just want to oh, Johnny said that Sally cheated on. Oh, tell who cares who Johnny and Sally is? You hear 5 different people that you don't know say it, or one person say it 100 times. We start thinking that Sally's a whore. Like it doesn't actually matter the context. Hear things enough, people are going to take it as a fact, and then people start believing it, and that can really snowball a lot of damage. But let's look at the chart a little bit, because there's something else I want to show that I haven't heard anybody say, except for little private conversations I've had, that I can see why someone would think this is an issue, and maybe it is. I just don't think so. Let's look at the chart. Here is Supra, here on Coin Market Cap. I have it on the of all time because this thing is new. It just came out at the end of 2024, or at least where the token was released. They spent a lot of time beforehand building it up, doing the pre-sales, the staking, the early investing, advertising. They did all that well. The company's been around since 2018. So this isn't, so just being released isn't a big deal. Timing plays a factor. I'm going to get into that in a moment. There's one or two very obvious things when you look at this chart, depending on how used you are looking at charts and what you zone in on and everything. And let's tackle some of these real quickish, right? So one is the tokenomics. If you look over here at total supply, right, max supply 100 billion Supra. However, this is something where tokenomics suck at first, where you look at circulating supply is 9.64. So not even 10% of the tokens are out there. And at first I was like, oh shit, that's bad, inflation, dilution. And a lot of people, I feel, put way too much stress and weight into how much crypto's out there and the inflation, because it might not matter. So when do they come out, right? If we had that extra 90.26 billion, 36, whatever, billion Supra dump tomorrow, that's an effing problem, right? I mean, that's going to tank the price down, market cap shoots up, everyone panics. But it's not that way. There's a specific pattern that they have it sent to release, so you know when the selling pressure is going to be, right? So we know, if you looked into this, that their early investors and the founders are going to get their tokens 6 months and 12 months after this launch date, which means we're going to get them pretty soon, and they're going to trickle in every, I forget the exact percentage, but it's a little bit over 24 and 36 months. Okay, so that minimizes the selling pressure. If they really wanted to scam the ish out of this, they could have made the owners got a large portion at the beginning and they start selling it off either slowly or rapidly, but that wasn't the case. But whenever you see something major like the circulating supply versus the max supply, you need to know why it's that way. How much is staked away? How much is in for advertising or marketing, which they had a decent percentage for, right? That's thing one. The other big one we see is this awful little downward trend. So there's 2 big parts of this one. One, you can look at that and say, oh my God, that sucks, I'm not investing into it. I would never jump that way. I'm like, okay, why is it doing this? Because you might miss out on one hell of a good crypto if you just look at a chart that's seeing go down. So if you look at any charts right now, they're all freaking going down, right? You're going to see a lot of charts that look similar to this. So this is very steep. High way up here at 7 cents, and now we're talking at just almost half a penny. That is one hell of a drop, guys. Why did it happen? What do we have here? So this is where it's released, right? And then we have there's a god tier candle going straight up, right? This looks like whales bought, and there was coin releases to early investors. So what's going to happen if someone bought a crypto at, we'll call that a penny, 0.009, and then you see it go up 7x, right? I'd be selling, right? Why wouldn't you? You just made 800% on your crypto. Yeah, so a lot of people, there was massive selling pressure. That's incredibly common when a crypto is first released, especially if there was pre-sales or something involved, or if people bought it small on the exchange in high amounts, and then the venture capitalist or someone came in. And this was just a major sell-off from the people who got into it early. They're all crying, right? Unless they bought more because they just watch it dump, or if they're the ones who sold. And we just see this steady slope. Oh my God, does it mean this crypto is bad? No, this is the time there's all crypto has been selling off this way right now. And since it's new, there's less investors. So it's going to look more steady if more people sell it off. The investor count has actually gone up, but they're smaller amounts at a time because people are nervous because you hear a lot of things, just general FUD. Is this a bear market? What's going on? So this is just general activity movement. I think the crypto was released at an unfortunately bad time. It gets released right when Trump comes into office. Everything that's at its highest, literally the highest that's run so far, and then it's been kind of down since then. That makes sense. All crypto have had that right now. So do I think that Supra is a scam? No, I don't. And I actually think it's lined up to be quite a good project. It's a strong layer one. It's got all the tech in the world that it needs. It really does. I think they're doing a lot of things well, not perfect, but other than I don't want to diversify anymore, it's really early, which makes it very risky. I will tell you, I like the idea of staking, especially if it's a crypto that I think is going to do well. So if this one survives the first little bit of the bear market, which the only reason why I say if is that the first little bit of a bear market, first half we'll call it, is where crypto do vanish. Like they go bankrupt. That happens every time. I'm not saying this one will. I'm saying I don't know if it will because it's very freaking new. I want to see how it does. But I'm looking very, very strongly at staking into this during the entire bear market if things go well. And as I dive in deeper, do I have the same amount of conviction or more from it? So it's all up to you to decide if something is a scam, but really is it worth investing in? And how is it worth investing in? Most memes are scams. You can make a lot of money from it, but maybe it's because that's known. Is Supra a scam? I'm going to bet not, and I will probably bet my money on that too. Let me know your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think about what's your opinion on Supra or any other crypto. I like having conversations with you guys. Let me know what's going on. Peace.